I'd like to congratulate John Suntress and his Word Balloon podcast on its 19th anniversary. Nobody covers the world of comics with in-depth interviews like John does, but I can do without his constant ripping of new Star Trek. Come on, man. Give it a rest.
Star Trek will not be presented tonight, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. It's been called one of the top 3 real Comic-Cons in the USA. August 16th through the 18th, discover Terrificon as it returns to the Mohegan Sun Expo Center in Uncasville, Connecticut. Terrificon showrunner Mitch Halleck has assembled his biggest and best comic creator guest list to date. Jim Lee, Scotty Young, Mark Waid, Adam Hughes, Jason Aaron, Charles Soule, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, Brian Azzarello, alongside legends like Chris Claremont, Jerry Ordway, Howard Chaykin, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Louise and Walter Simonson, Klaus Janson, Lee Weeks, and dozens more. Terrificon also brings you the actors who have brought your favorite superheroes to life on the big and small screens. Michael Rooker, Charlie Cox, Star Trek actors Walter Koenig, Nana Visitor, Armin Shimmerman, Ethan Peck, Celia Rose Gooding, and many more. That's Terrificon, August 16th through the 18th. For information on tickets and guests, visit Terrificon.com. Welcome back, everybody. It's time again for another Oh Yeah Trek Watch. We're also going to review Doctor Who, and there's actually some Star Trek news that broke this week. So it's good to see everybody. How you doing? Franco is back. Wayne is back. Mitch is back. Mitch and I talked last night to get that Lake Como Art Festival report, and also to have Mitch catch up TV-wise and give us his thoughts on some things. But good Lord, everybody, thank God, only one more episode of Star Trek Discovery. Yeah. We'll talk about the 9th episode. I hate the word penultimate because I think it's overused, frankly. But it is the second to last episode. I'll say it that way.
I've never used penultimate in my... Oh, you said frankly. I thought you said Franco. Oh.
No, penultimate.
Yep. It was okay, I guess, but I will say that, again, they stretch things out so unnecessarily. But your guys' initial thoughts on episode 9 of season 5?
Did we talk about episode 8, or did I miss that?
That was the library.
That was the library one.
Where
something new happened. Michael Burnham cried.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about that.
We didn't talk about that. No.
Oh, hilarious! All right, we can talk about 8 and 9. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, because I wanted to. Because as I watched it, and she was crying, and there was a section where she was talking to Phantom Booker or Book.
Yeah, fake book. Yeah,
fake book. And she admitted that she's the greatest. At that point, so I'm like, wow, they finally admitted that she's the greatest. It's not just all in our heads. It's
when did she? I didn't remember her saying that. What do you remember? Kind of what she said, paraphrasing.
It's okay, in her own mind, she thinks she's the greatest. I remember picking up on that and going, why is this in here? Why?
Maybe she's Muhammad Ali. She's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I got it.
There was that whole conversation about why she's in there and all that other stuff, and he elicited out of her in her own mind she thinks she's the greatest one, the greatest Starfleet officer ever. And I was like, wow, that's kind of taking a step, isn't it?
I guess
it was her Whitney Houston moment.
Yeah, learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. Exactly.
See, I fast forwarded during most of the whole episode, so I didn't care. I was like, I fell asleep the first time. I just got back from Italy, and I was like, let me try to catch up. And I fell asleep, and I felt bad, so I went to go watch it again. And then I didn't really give a shit, so I just fast forwarded and saw. I didn't care. And then I saw where they broke the thing, and she found another piece of the idol or whatever the hell she's looking for.
I didn't mind Locke and the Breen, and I thought that was okay. And I kind of liked that Locke shot the arrogant Breen leader, her lover's uncle, that obviously was using his legacy to further his own political ambitions. So that's, and really in general, here's something nice. I thought the Breen stuff this season was interesting.
Didn't it look a little too Power Rangers though, with the little mask and the little light, like almost like really?
Well, but Mitch, that is how the Breen looked back on Deep Space Nine.
I know, but it just seemed like real hokey. I was like,
oh, I mean, it's okay, but you know, I always appreciated the mystery of the Breen during the Dominion War and the DS9 years. And it's okay. I mean, ultimately, they reveal everything about every alien race. The Borg were a big mystery initially, and then as we got to know them, it kind of got tired. But outside of, you know, them using the Breen in this Discovery story, we really didn't see them. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I don't understand how their environment suits work because what is the dead Breen's name?
Maul.
Maul. All right. So I mean, Maul, unless he mutated, can obviously survive without his Breen helmet. Yeah. And they were like lopping off Breens by cutting their support hoses. You know,
which I didn't get. I was like, "What? Yeah. You're on board your own ship. You would think you would adjust the atmospheric controls so you don't have to walk around with the thing that they could easily just put." But that's a plot device because that's how they infiltrated it with their little stormtrooper outfits to get in there.
I was also confused because how does Maul survive without his? Did they ever explain that?
Sometimes they did kind of say that he genetically change himself a bit, because like without their helmets they have like goof faces and everything, but he doesn't have a goof face. He just has a green face. Yeah, I mean, again, the other thing that drives me nuts, and I don't think I mentioned this in previous episodes, they drop Easter egg names of things. They name former planets. I remember Locke saying, "Oh man, you know, it'd be worse if I were a goat herder on whatever planet was, I'll say Epsilon 6. And actually, I guess it was a DS9 reference to that planet when O'Brien and Bashir are with all the Jem'Hadar, and the Jem'Hadar force Bashir to try and come up with a cure for Ketracel White and everything. So it's like, oh, that's nice. But again, I'm sure they're like, see, we do know our Star Trek stuff. And it's like, yeah, but just naming something, much like what they do in general, is that's great. Well, that's square one. You got more than that? No, we really don't have more than that. Okay, thanks. And the other thing that drives me nuts is going back to that episode 8, the library episode, that Janet Reno, Tignataro, Jet Reno, I'm being mean, you know, and those, I'm honestly, and no disrespect meant by this, I'm sure that was part of the inspiration.
Oh no, it's too close not to be. I mean, it's like, really?
But I mean, it's there's an ancient Betazoid text that's 800 years old. It's never actually been published beyond being handwritten. BS. Everything's on tablets every other way, but this only was handwritten, and only a few thousand copies survived. And instead of like calling a Beta Z, it could be like, oh, you know, like a knowledgeable book expert from Beta Z or whatever. That's the kind of thing you'd normally see in old Trek. But now it's like, oh, you know who's got all that knowledge? Somebody that's already on the payroll. So let's transport 3 decks to Jet Reno and get her explanation and everything. And it's just like, okay.
I told you that annoying beaming from deck to deck now. They don't use that elevator. Some guy just lost his job. Let me just put it that way, okay? Let's put it on Front Street. There's an elevator operator right now, unemployed because of the laziness of the Starfleet, who can't just walk up and down stairs. They have to press the little things now.
And also, have they put a food court in that turbo lift corridor that is so ridiculously large and spacious now. You know, that as I've described on other episodes, it's kind of like the tram between mountains when you get to the Swiss Alps and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a spaceship, guys.
So do they not have a working elevator anymore? Because then, like, what happens if their transporters go out? What happens?
I don't think they use it anymore.
They don't use that elevator.
Yeah, they're zapping back and forth, which, again, is just, wow, isn't that cool? Not really.
That's got to be bad for your gonads.
Honestly, I think it's bad. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why Tilly hasn't lost her water weight, because she doesn't have to like walk upstairs anymore.
No one walks upstairs.
I was gonna
zap everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna equate it to maybe standing too close to the microwave. I wouldn't go so far as to besmirch my beloved Tilly.
I know, and the thing of it is, can you just go anywhere you want? Like you're like a perv and you want to like check on some chicks.
Well, yeah, and again,
pop up like, hey.
Well, and also, you know, old Trek, it'd be like, oh, we got to go to Vulcan. It's going to take us 4 days. Well, not with the Spore Drive. Boom, we're here.
Oh,
we're in the Badlands.
You mentioned that on the episode 9, which we haven't got to yet. They had to wait because it was going to take 2 hours for somebody to get there. I was like, wait a minute.
Okay, I thought of that too, because it took them 5 hours to repair the ship in 5 hours, right? Because the Bream are going to get there in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
In that 5 hours, she didn't have 2 minutes to talk the book.
Nope.
But then when they're in costume and they're on the Breen ship, before they all right, now I got to have a heart to heart with you. Yeah. I didn't have the 5 hours before. I couldn't have done it. So that bothered me.
Yeah, that made no sense.
Also, how they're communicating with the 4 of them while they're in the Breen costumes, and it's like, why are you here? I think they know. I think they know we're here. Let's start talking Pig Latin.
Yeah,
so they don't know. It's like
that one I could forgive. You know, you're talking in one communicator or the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's odd that they show up, and obviously, Michael Burnham is. I don't know how tall that she really is, but they were small, especially what's the Adira? Is that what
Adira's the
name? Or I'm sorry, whatever Adira.
Yeah, the trill.
Shorter than anybody there, and I'm like, don't the other Breen notice that?
You're kind of short for a stormtrooper.
Aren't you a little short for a Breen trooper? You know,
She's
but
the
I was
Breen
like, no one caught that.
If we're going into 9, because I had issues with 8, but not as bad as I had with 9. Even though you seem to like that episode better, I had a lot of issues with 9. Like your theory about the bridge crew and not paying anybody, like not having more than 5 lines so they don't have to pay these guys. Your whole theory was just blown up in episode 9 because all of them are talking. I don't recognize any of these bridge crew.
I said that. Yes, I said it to John. I said, "What happened to weird lady with the shaved head with the implant thing and the other woman?" And he said they're gone. They got on the other Enterprise from the Mirror Universe.
In the plot, I had to read an article to confirm it, but in the plot, Detmer and long African named navigator.
She did say that in the end of that episode where they fly off, but like they're gone now. They're like,
Well, and again, but Franco, like, all right, fine. The SAG 4 lines and under theory may not be true, but what is likely true is, hey, we have 2 new actors as opposed to 2 cast members that have been there for 4.5 seasons.
Right.
I'm sure those people were paid less. So, all right, I'll take the point.
Did they ask for a raise? Those other 2 people?
No,
I bet it's the same budget. I'm sure it's like, what do you mean I'm not in the rest of the season?
No, you know what's going to happen.
Okay, if you want a height comparison,
hold on, stand by, zooming in for Wayne.
Here's a height comparison.
Oh man,
between me, Anson Mount, and Sonequa.
And you're only like 4 foot tall.
I'm only like 4'1".
Yeah,
exactly.
Sonequa's like Fletch in his dream when he's playing for the Lakers. And he's 6'2", 6'8" with the afro. And it's like, she's got, man, we think Pike's a hair hopper. Sonequa's got, that's like Marge on The Simpsons when she's thinking and stuff. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do either. Don't ask me. I'm only hair.
You know how you can find out how tall Sonequa Rose Gooding is? By going to Terrificon on August 16th to the 18th. You will see her. Okay, that's it. Plug's over. Go back to the show. But Oh, damn it! We were just talking.
And Saru is back.
Oh
so
no! But mark my words. I told you what's happening. Last night, I said, whenever you watch a war movie and there's always this one young soldier who's got a picture of his girl or whatever, like, can't wait to get home and marry Peggy Sue. It's going to
Live
be a big
forever.
wedding. And we're all like, oh, Bobby, we're going to be at your wedding too. You know, Saru's going to buy it. I'm like, oh my God, he's got death written all over him
I
already.
think
It's
I do think it's
like,
50-50.
I cannot wait to go home and marry my Vulcan hottie who's got a lot of lipstick on all of a sudden, which I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any logical sense. But she was wearing some major cosmetics. So he's going to get whacked. And that other bridge crew that we just noticed they're not there after all these years, and we still don't know their name other than the lady with the weird head.
Detmer.
They're going to show up at the last minute to
And save
save
the
the
I'm
Discovery.
thinking that too, Mitch.
The other ship, yeah, you know it's going to be the end of the day, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
no,
maybe the
they're all
IS
gonna die. And you know who's
Premier
going to
Enterprise is going to save them. Yeah, maybe.
Enterprise is going to say, and who's leading the charge? Saru will be leading that ship, and something will happen, and he'll die. And it's like,
Yeah, 'cause see,
what's the Navarran lady's name? Vulcan lady.
to something.
Tell Rosa I love her.
Yeah.
And give my best to my son.
To
Tell
lick.
him I'm
I don't
proud,
remember.
like Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's going to happen on that thing.
No,
That's
I
my
agree with
word.
you, Mitch. I was thinking that
Yeah.
too. That Detmer and Long, African lady name, are going to come back and help save the day. And
But going with what John was saying about the SAG again, if they've just started, they've been just being scaled. But the other people, since they've been on several seasons, they've been getting a higher scale. So toss in some new people, cost you a lot less to do an
You know what?
episode.
Speaking of new people, can I say something? I think my favorite character on all 5 seasons of this show is Rayner, the new guy.
Yes.
And he really cemented it this episode when he asked for Tilly to be the first officer, and he tells her why after she gets all soppy about sitting in the chair. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, ooh, good. He's finally putting this crew in its place by stop being soppy with this stupid soppy stuff. And then at the end, he just ruins it by sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it, why'd you sit in the chair? You were doing so well in my book.
Yeah.
As a tangent, that actor, and I always forget his name, 3 names, Callum something. He was quoted because they're telegraphing that the reboot of Galactica is coming back, and they asked his opinion of it, and he said, "Well, it better be better than the Ron Moore 2000s version, because every reboot that has happened with Galactica has been better than the previous one." And he's like, "I hope they have something new to say." But I had also read that there are some characters, they didn't specify, but that there are some characters that are going to come back to the new version. And supposedly it's going to be on PCAC next year.
So are you saying Galactica 1980 was better than Galactica?
Well, you're right. Well, I would say it's the same continuity.
Well, they had that episode
I know
with
it's 20 years
Starbuck.
later.
That was
that's the only good episode of 1980. So,
It was like enemy
all right,
line.
smart ass, Canadian smart ass, shut up.
No,
But
I'm just making sure I understand the logic.
Yeah, I understand.
So Robin Douglas
voting
appeared in that.
for that.
Robin Douglas did a Playboy spread. She was the
Who was Robin Douglas?
Oh,
she was the woman, the Earth woman that hooked up or helped out Jerry Van Dyke. And was it Randolph Mantooth? Wasn't the other guy?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So there you go. He was
And it
supposed to be
wasn't
the
Jerry,
grown-up
it was
Boxy.
Barry.
He was,
Barry Van Dyke.
Barry Van Dyke was supposed to be Boxy all grown up.
Right. Well, I think actually Randolph Mantooth was supposed to be Boxy.
Oh, was that one of them? Oh, okay.
But yeah, they were
Randolph
like
Mantooth.
And they had the cycles.
They had the flying motorcycles.
and the super
Lauren Green was on with a beard, and Apollo was gone, right? Was he dead?
No, they were all gone.
Apollo was gone.
Apollo was gone, and Starbuck was missing on that planet, and Colonel Ty, I think, was still there, though, right?
No, I don't believe
No,
so.
Colonel Ty was gone, too?
I'm reasonably certain he wasn't there, and original Boomer wasn't there. No, really, I think, and as I understand it, because this is a great Sci-Fi Channel behind the scenes history of Galactica, and when ABC said, "Oh, let's bring it back as 1980," and they were all set with a new cast, Lauren Green went to Glenn Larson and said, "Oh, I'm not involved? Oh, man." And he was all bummed out. And so that's why Glenn Larson's like, "Well, it's Lauren Green, man, and we love Lauren Green. All right, we're going to bring it back."
Boomer was there.
Boomer,
Herb
yeah, Herbert Jefferson.
And
Wasn't
it
it?
was
Alright,
Kent
correct.
McCord.
Kent McCord. It wasn't Randolph Mentor.
Yes, yes. All right, fine. But it was
The
one of those Adam
emergency.
12 guys.
It was the Adam 12 guy.
Yeah.
McCord.
Hilarious. It would have been better with Randolph Mentor.
I didn't mind Galactic to 1980. I thought it was all right.
You got to be kidding me. Good Lord.
I was
'Cause
50
you know-
years
I like
old.
the
What do
Starbuck.
I know? You know.
Well, but honestly, Mitch, what was wrong with it was they put it
Tell
at 7 Eastern, so it had to be completely safe. So there was
Yeah.
like no violence. The best they could do, literally, was with one of the ray guns, split a tree, and
Yeah.
that was even like, I don't know, that's kind of violent. It's like,
No, I remember they had a Halloween episode and the microwave oven screwed up the Cylon. I thought that was kind of cool. Like the Cylon.
oh,
was
that's
gonna-
hilarious. I didn't remember.
They thought it was a costume party. They were in like a Halloween
Sure.
episode, and then
Sure.
the Cylon showed up, and they did something to a microwave like make popcorn, and the rays from the microwave screwed up the circuitry, and he just like fell over. I was like, holy
There,
crap!
there you go.
It's like,
man. That's
it's
kind
like
of violence.
the teleporters in Discovery. They're
But
gonna
you
just-
know what? The
they're gonna
thing of
screw
it
you
is
up.
that we're totally on a tangent. That made no sense because they landed in 1980, and the whole problem was the Galactica, the Earth wasn't ready for the technology that the Galactica had, and they were like, "Oh no, this is our salvation." Yet years earlier, they had the broadcast from the Apollo 11 reach the Galactica. So you're like, well, wait a minute. If the speed of light and they're broadcasting that signal, how far away were they? Because they showed up 12 years later. Okay, I can get nerded out on this, but I was always a little confused on that.
I hear you. Another annoying episode was the Super Kids played baseball and had like super strength, and I think
Yep.
could defy gravity to a degree, like jump really high and everything. Ridiculous.
wonder,
Actually,
what?
Galactica comment. Caprica was better than the new BSG, and B and G Blood and Chrome was better than both. James, I'm just telling you what Callum 3 name Rayner said. Just relax, all right? When you bring out the slide rule, you're trying too hard, all right? And here, no, not that comment. This
Wait,
comment from Mike Coonrad. Rayner is the best character on this show. That tells you something about the writing of this show. All over all the seasons. 100%, man.
Whoa. We can go back to when they introduced Pike.
Oh no,
Well,
that's
yeah,
true. It
but
was good.
I forget that was part of this show.
I know. I always think I go, oh yeah.
Because I
that
wanna,
was
in
like
my head, I
funny.
want to separate the two. So
Yeah, and also, well, you know what's crazy, guys? We're in the last season, and literally only one more episode left.
Yep.
I think season 1 might be the best Discovery season of the
It
5,
was.
and it just only got worse every year after that. Because
I
honestly, I think despite the introduction of Pike in season 2, I think the whole control AI thing was ridiculously hokey. Section 31 has a giant secret headquarters, kind of an oxymoron.
The Red
You know,
Angel thing, that was stupid.
Horribly stupid. Doesn't make sense again, time and space. But okay. It's that problem that I keep pointing out, in that there is a lack of credibility in the writing of Star Trek in New Trek. And I just feel there is like this. Rob Meyer Burnett described it as none of the writers believe in Star Trek. And it's not like we're all 4 years old believing in Santa Claus. It's okay, there are rules, there are parameters. They're faithful enough to the show to really understand how everything works. They don't do it. It's become, as Larry, I had Larry Young on earlier this week, and he said, Star Wars is science fiction fantasy. Star Trek is really sci-fi space opera. And they've turned Star Trek into science fiction fantasy.
Yep. But at least it was capably directed by Mr. Jonathan Frakes, who was at Terrificon last year, but that's another story.
That's true.
I thought it held up in that way because you could tell a seasoned veteran from old Next Generation and all the other Star Treks he directed, even the movies. He knows how to do his little action sequences. He knew how to do this. I could tell.
He knows how to pace an episode.
Exactly. I said of all the episodes they've done this season, this one actually kind of felt like the heist, like they got to get aboard. But there was one problem with that, is that I'm like, once they got there and they opened that shield that was around the big, whatever the frig that thing is, the phone booth or whatever they're trying to get.
the Doctor Who booth, yeah.
The Doctor Who, whatever. TARDIS, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, once they lower the shield on it, and she starts doing the thing so they can lock on and beam them out, couldn't they just get out pretty quick? I know it's a show and they got pacing, but boy, it's like, wait, it's not ready to go yet. I'm like, wait, you should be off that ship pretty damn fast. And then when they sued, the solution was to blow everything out into space.
I thought that was cool, actually.
And then grab it and then take off and run like hell when they got there. And then there was that whole thing about the 2 black holes in the beginning. It was supposed to be like, oh, aren't we supposed to get all hard and everything? Because look, it's science and we're watching black holes and it's a binary.
I really thought that, that again, from a writing standpoint, what was the purpose of that? Because I guess because the thing was, the mycelial network, he couldn't track a target or whatever, jump correctly. But that seemed really unnecessary.
Right.
Unless I was waiting for that to take a piece of the end of the show, like that was going to come in somehow at the end of the show to help them or hurt them or something like that. And I'm like, well, what happened with that?
Well,
maybe they time to fix the ship. The ship wasn't totally repaired for them to do the jump. And that's why he said, I can't guarantee exactly how close I can get.
Right.
Right.
He said that. He did say that. Yeah.
He did say that. So it wasn't like a problem with the.
No,
sport. It's just that he said it's like, with Wrath of Khan, the following floors aren't working. We have this and this and this left. When Kirk is walking through the Enterprise with Spock, he's going, well, what's actually working? So it's, they got it enough. They got the Discovery fixed enough to be able to jump, but not jump accurately.
A couple comments from the Peanut Gallery. Mr. Vic says the best Star Trek now is the Orville. I know Franco disagrees. And I already have an answer for this question. Stanley asks, how do you want them to end the series? Quickly! And already they failed at that. So I don't know what to tell you, Stanley. I honestly don't know. I really, like Mitch said, although I think it's 50-50 with Saru dying, because it reminds me of that Simpsons where they showed all the fake spinoffs. And they're like, don't worry, there's a lot coming up for the Simpsons. And they said, impossible hookups. And then they're like, and weddings. And, oh, no, so I'm sure they're going to go through a ceremony of Saru getting married. Maybe it'll be like Bond with Tracy Bond.
Yeah, it'll turn into a funeral.
Well, that's how they'll all come together in a love boat.
And then Maul will come by and do a drive-by and shoot him.
Yeah, and then show up with their weird head with a wedding present. Demerol. They'll show up with some.
No, and I'm thrilled that I actually know her name. I don't know Asian guy's name.
I know. I like the turtle dude on the ship, the bridge guy. I don't know what his name is, but he looks like a turtle.
Linus, that's Linus. And that's the other thing. Linus has only had like maybe 10 lines in the entire 5 years.
Well, there was another alien they cut to this week. They cut to some other weird, freaky looking alien.
They did at Starfleet headquarters. They had a couple walkthroughs.
Yeah, walkthroughs, generic alien faces. I'm like, who the frick is that?
But they've always done that. They did that in the original cast movies. One of my favorite aliens that they never explained were they had like cargo nets in front of their faces.
Yeah,
and that's like when the head of Starfleet busts Admiral Kirk down to captain and gives them the Enterprise. And
they start clapping at the end, and the weird they have like these weird hands when they're clapping, and then there's the cat people or something. Remember that they were like a black kitty cat? Yeah. Never knew who those people were.
Yeah.
Yeah. They went out of their way to make that makeup effect.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how it's going to end. Michael's going to become an admiral.
So, what's the blonde chick's name that looks like Pris from Blade Runner? The bad guy.
Chiana from Farscape. Lal.
So Lal's sole motivation at this point of the show, because obviously she didn't have this motivation to begin with because the other guy was still alive. Locke was still alive. Right. Now that he's dead, her only compulsion is to get the secret of the progenitors to bring him back to life, which is not what they were originally going to do. Originally, they just wanted to have the secret of creation and destruction. So then she was always in it just to make money. Well,
Right.
They
now
were
it's
trying to
just
make
solve it
money
out.
to get
Right.
her and
Yeah, but
and
now
Maul
she's
away.
like,
Yeah.
I want it all. I got to bring my boyfriend back
Right.
or whatever. And she shrunk him down or whatever the hell she did. She put him in the
Oh, she
transporter
did a
thing.
Scotty
She did it. Yeah, she put him in the buffer so she could bring him back when she has to.
transporter
Right.
buffer.
So what happens is they're going to get there. I'm going to listen to our theory. My theory is they're going to get to the secret code or whatever the hell it is to unlock the beginning of life. And she's going to bring him back, but it's going to be like the monkey's paw. He's going to be like all zombied out and all messed up. And maybe he ends up killing her, like goes to eat her like a zombie, eats her brain. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
And
that's what's
then-
gonna happen. Yeah,
and
sure.
then Michael
Sure.
Burnham's like, we got to get out of here because it's not really the secret of life.
No.
It turns out to be, it'll be the new universe. Like it'll recreate everything from scratch again. Like this universe
And
has
it'll
to
have the
die.
head from Star Trek 5 in it too.
Get the crack
See?
pipe down, Mitch.
I would go with
Yeah.
that theory if they didn't already announce the Tilly Star Trek Academy thing. And
No.
and
I'm
happening.
saying what's going to happen is they do find it to make new life. You have to destroy the old life, and the only way this will work is
Like
everything in the
terraforming.
universe has to be destroyed. And then she's
Right,
like
the
she has to make
Genesis.
she's got to make the big decision because she is the greatest. Does she keep the old shitty universe that they have now, or does she go and make a whole new world? And it'll be this big moment where she's got to
No,
save
what's going to happen is she's going
he
to bring
will
it back to
save
life. No,
everybody.
she's
in
going to
the
bring it back to
galaxy.
life. He's going to take over the Breen command
Collective.
and Star Trek people, you help me. Let's all live in peace and harmony now. We love each
No.
other. Watch.
And
Yeah,
somehow,
negotiations will be underway to
Yeah.
normalize relations with the brain.
and somehow Saru get killed at the end. Somehow.
James says maybe the issue is this series isn't utopia enough anymore. I
No.
assume.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
is.
I don't know.
Everybody likes Michael Burnham. How more utopian?
No,
can you
and
get than that?
they mentioned Admiral Mummy guy, but he wasn't on screen either. I'm like, what are we saving money on everybody? She's like, oh,
Yes.
Admiral whatever is getting
Right.
a fleet together. I'm like, you can't even cut to that dude. He's been on for 3 years. I
Nope.
like that
Nope.
guy. He's always miserable.
Saving money. Literally, and that's why Tig Notaro's only on 3 or 4 episodes,
Wow.
and all the other shows. It is such a there's a bean counter that is in charge of.
Whoa.
Yeah, bean counter. You
Creative
heard it.
bean counter.
Well, I'm sorry.
A creative bean counter.
Oh, creative.
Yeah. Okay. Again,
You know what I like?
another Canadian interjection. Go watch the playoffs.
So top
You know,
three,
Indian,
top
One
three
more.
characters.
I have
One
the
more,
playoffs
man.
on.
Top
By the
three
way-
characters for me are Rayner, who's
Yeah.
kind of Tilly and that
Saru?
no, not even close.
Who's the third?
It's
Admiral.
Mummy Admiral.
Yeah. He's got it.
I would agree with you.
I like
Yeah.
him.
Well, I
He's
don't
good.
like Tilly, but yeah, I like Mummy
No.
Admiral.
Tilly, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
He likes Tilly for all the wrong reasons. But the thing of it
Exactly.
is, did you notice at the end? It just ended. I actually had commercials on mine, which I haven't had commercials all year. But I kept getting commercials for like Lunchables.
Maybe that's why they're not making any money. They keep forgetting to put the commercials.
I know,
in.
and I'm watching. Of all things, I like Lunchables, which is like a little kid snack. I don't think any kids are watching this show, but maybe their parents are. So at the end of the
Maybe
episode,
that's the only thing that advertised. We'll
Nobody
buy
wants
advertising this
nobody
week.
wants it, but they can't even get medical ads. Like take this heart medicine. Nobody wants this thing.
Depends.
Not even
No
not
boner
even
pills.
erectile dysfunction
Depends.
things will touch it, or those late night vibrator ads. All I know is at the end of the episode where they're about to launch the attack, when he's like, "Here's what we're gonna do," he doesn't do like "Let's fly" or anything like that. He's just like, "All right, let's go,"
Yeah,
and that was it. It was like,
that's
boom,
why I
boom,
like
boom.
this guy.
He just
Yeah.
like he was pounding the side of the thing, like the chair, like boom, 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 let's
Uh-huh.
go. Yeah, that's how you
Yeah.
get shit done. You don't have to come up with a creative little tagline to
Mhm.
start the action. You're like, oh, and by the way, people still think this ship is made for discovery and science exploration, bullshit. They came into that thing, guns blasting. We're gonna hit that shield with everything we got. We're firing torpedoes. I go, that ain't no ship of peace. That thing's a freaking war machine coming straight at you, which was actually cool. I'll give him that. I thought it was cool that the Discovery actually kicked ass and
Mhm.
blew right through the Death
Yep.
Star there. You know?
As
I
Mike
like that they
said,
had to do math because math doesn't lie. I like that part too.
Yeah.
as Mike said, the most disappointing thing about Disco is how great it looks visually, than
Yeah.
how bad the writing is. Absolutely, and also again, and now finally, all right, we need an away mission to go. And Adira's like, I want to go.
Yeah.
And dramatic 20 seconds of, is she ready?
Then why are you
I'm
sending
really-
her?
Shh, let me make my point, please. That again, you just hit the dramatic pause of silence of this intent. Oh my God, are they going to let Adira go on the mission? Tilly, what do you think? Yeah, I think she's ready. And then the tearful goodbye with Culver and Stamets, her pseudo parents. It's like, again, these crew members have training wheels on them, and she and Frakes were interviewed on the Ready Room this week. I haven't watched yet, and ironically, almost 30 minutes after most of the season, the Ready Room only being 15 minutes. So that was all interesting. Please, Mitch, make your point now.
Okay, the point of it is, if the fate of the galaxy is at stake here, and this is it. I mean, this is like do or die. Why in the hell would you even think for a second to send somebody who might not be ready for it, who then even says, you guys think I could do this? No, you can't. This is so stupid. I'm like, it's not even exciting anymore. I mean, if I'm home watching it going, I don't think she's going to be able to do it. Then I go, is she going to get killed too?
Well, I was going to say, maybe she should die because she's not ready.
And what was the whole thing with Gray a couple weeks ago? Talk about another wasted. I never really cared for the character, so I'm not that broken up about it. But you bring her on that one episode, just what? Because we forgot that we had this other character.
I think for closure of the relationship,
maybe. But
I think clearly that's why. I think clearly
to tick a box.
And also remember,
to tick a box. Yeah.
The Doctor was taken over by that other person for a while, and they made such a big deal about it in a couple of episodes, and then nothing. So if that doesn't make some sort of appearance in the last episode, it's just really bad writing.
I don't think they're going to reference any of that.
The whole thing with the Doctor is that he should be more freaked out that he came back from the dead.
Right.
Than just being possessed. You know what? I think I take the possession as a good thing over being dead.
Well, again, it is so obvious. You said it before. They don't know how to pace 10 episodes. This story could have been done in 4 episodes. There's so much unnecessary scenes and pregnant pauses and unnecessary character moments that it's like, goodbye. I mean, again, the original episode with Next Gen and the Progenitors, 1 episode. One.
Yeah.
But no, we need 10.
We haven't had enough grunge. Where's the freaking cat? The cat should be the one saving everybody.
Well, I had that theory earlier that much like, was it Isis the cat that
yes, that was Gary Seven's cat.
Yeah, I assumed that grunge was going to end up being one of that race where part-time cat, part-time hot chick. And that maybe grunge was going to reveal
that's
itself.
right.
What's that?
The Gary 7 episode. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
with the cat.
Yeah. John talked about that. That's what he's predicting.
That was my theory. Mm-hmm. Which again, all of our theories are infinitely better than these professional writers.
I know. I think of that.
Hey, maybe this is going to happen. Yeah, maybe not.
We have better stories than they do, but
aren't we allowed to make our own fan films? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
They're only 10 minutes long.
They met the Guardian Forever. Yeah, that was with the Michelle Yeoh episode.
Carl.
Wait a second.
Carl.
Yeah. They ruined
Carl the
that
doorman.
too.
Exactly. It's Carl the doorman. Carlton
the doorman.
Hi, I'm Carlton the doorman.
Hi, how you doing?
Lorenzo Music Buddy.
Forever. And I'm Rhoda's doorman as well.
Getting off on a little bit of a tangent. The new Garfield movie that's out? Why didn't they AI Lorenzo Music's voice for that? And why did they get Chris Pratt instead?
Okay. Keeping on the Lorenzo music. Sorry, keeping on the Lorenzo music trend. At Cincinnati Comic Expo 2 years ago, they had the Batman animated cast there, and the guys and the gals were going, man, you look and sound just like Lorenzo and the
music.
Yeah, it was Lorenzo Music, and they were literally talking to each other, going, "That's Lorenzo, isn't it?"
To you,
between them.
You?
I thought you.
Yeah, they said that
I
looked like. I was talking like Lorenzo.
I think he died like years
in the 80s.
Well, then
in the 80s.
I wasn't quite dead then, but
wasn't there a Carlton cartoon?
Yes, there was. Like I think it was only a special, But yes,
Oh.
there was a Carlton cartoon.
There was a Carlton
like a
Dorman
CBS special?
animated special. Really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Well, he also had, back in the 70s, every band had a summer replacement variety show. Like Starlight Vocal Band had one, and Kenny Rogers in the First Edition had one, and Lorenzo and a Woman had a folk music variety show that I remember as a kid, and it was Lorenzo music.
And
So-
Starlight Vocal Band was an answer to one of Mitch and Jerry's questions on his podcast.
Was it? Was
Yeah.
that Skyrockets in Flight? Afternoon
Yes.
Delight? That's
Yes.
what it was. I kept sitting there saying, Jerry, I don't know. And then I go, was it Buffalo Springfield? He goes, no.
Oh, it was absolutely not Buffalo Springfield.
Buffalo
I know.
Springfield.
And then
If you're
it
trying to
was
think
like-
of Buffalo, for what it's worth,
What's the song? Give me their hit
Stop,
song.
children. What's that sound? Better take a look what's going around.
That's what
that's
so
Buffalo
everybody's like,
for what it's
Springfield. That's
worth.
the big one.
Yeah.
Every time I mention it, I go, Billy, don't be a hero. Jerry goes, that's
No,
not that.
no.
That was Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods. Good Lord.
Okay,
That's
well, where
like,
were you?
that's
So
like
I'm sitting there at
mistaking
lunch,
Bob Dylan for Tony DeFranco and the DeFranco family.
whatever.
What are
And
you
I kept
doing?
throwing
Don't
names
bring
out.
me into this. Franco's
And
not
J-
in any of this.
No, and Jerry keeps going, well, that's not one. That's not one. I go, well, Jesus
And
Christ.
then the
Lord,
Starlight
that's
one,
one.
I'm just when you were saying, I'm going, oh my God, it's Starlight. Come on, you should know these.
And then I said, well,
That's what
where
you
was
need
the,
to call me.
what was the Jim Stafford song? I like
Spiders and
snakes.
snakes.
Yeah.
There you go. Jerry's
Seriously.
like, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, Jim
I,
Stafford.
I spent
who was
5
then
years. I
That's
spent 5 years
incredible.
doing oldies and soft rock. I
Yeah.
did all that crap.
But wasn't Jim Stafford on with Kathy Lee Gifford or Kathy Lee Crosby and Fran Tarkenton? Wasn't he one of the original That's Incredible people?
No.
Jim Stafford wasn't a TV guy for a while.
Well,
I don't
he
know.
also had a variety show.
Like,
I would
yeah,
always get the That's Incredible and Real People. mixed
Real
up.
People with Skip Stevenson and
Skip
Sarah
Stevenson, Sarah
Purcell
Purcell,
and
Brian-
Byron
John
Allen,
Byron,
Byron Allen.
and
John
Byron
Barber,
Allen. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Byron Allen. Yes,
And
Yeah,
who knew
That's
Byron
Incredible was
Allen?
Fran Tarkenton,
and that's incredible. Was
John
Kathy Lee
Davidson,
Crosby.
and Kathy Lee Crosby.
Right,
John
exactly.
Davidson. That's who I'm
Fran
thinking
Tarkenton.
of.
Did you say Fran
Yes.
Franco?
Yes,
What's
he
that?
did.
Fran
Fran
Tarkenton.
Tarkenton, yeah.
Fran Tarkenton.
And I remember
John Davidson
in
had that.
Mad Magazine they did a caricature of John Davidson, and it was just all
Teeth?
teeth.
Yeah,
All teeth.
absolutely.
I remember that. Yeah.
You know, he was on Gilbert Gottfried a couple of years ago, and I got to say, for being such a candy butt and such a squeaky clean guy, he had very funny stories, and it seemed that like he had a good sense of humor about his own career.
Wasn't he Karen Valentine's boyfriend or something? Weren't they like a couple?
Again, that is a different sitcom from the 70s called The Girl with Something Extra. She had ESP.
Oh, he was on that show.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
my brain remembers the two of them somehow.
You are
I'm like,
so funny.
what were they
That's
doing?
hilarious.
John Davidson. And Sandy
Yes,
Duncan
and-
had a glass eye and she would eat Triscuits.
That's right. And
Yeah,
played
here
Peter
and
Pan.
there.
She was
But I
Valerie.
would rather watch The Girl with Something Extra than Discovery. I'll tell you that.
Decades before it went away, that channel had a weekend where they showed The Girl with Something Extra
Wasn't Sandy
It's-
Duncan the replacement for Valerie Harper?
on the Hogan family. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hogan
right.
family,
Yeah.
too, that's
Yeah.
right.
With Jason Bateman. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, he was on that too. Oh.
All right, James. I don't know what you're saying, James. Wouldn't this have been better? The original pitch was to do science fiction what American Horror Story had done for horror. That's what Brian Fuller said. It would platform a universe of Star Trek shows. Okay.
Is Fuller even involved anymore? I mean, I thought. that
No,
was
in name
season
only.
one. Yeah. They get him a
He
paycheck.
was at the
He's a-
beginning. That's why.
He's a suitcase producer. They give him a suitcase full of money and he goes away. They're like, get the hell out of here.
He created he created the original idea, and Alex Kurtzman said, "Hold my beer. Let me make this even crappier."
Let me
And
run
he
it
went
into
in
the
and
ground
changed
for you. Yeah.
Because even the whole mycelial network was more about terraforming than this BS traveling through space through a mushroom thing. Makes no sense. Again, no sense at all. So, and yes, as James said, correct, the original Fuller pitch for Discovery, CBS wasn't interested in that. And that would be one Leslie Moonves who thought Darth Vader was part of Star Trek.
Did
That's
he really?
Oh, yeah. He said Star
that's
Trek.
funny.
That's the one Darth Vader, right? Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yep. Brilliance. Well, and actually, let's transition to Star Trek news before we get to other TV shows or film. First of all, Holly Hunter named as a captain for the upcoming Starfleet Academy show. Sad note that pretty obvious that Star Trek Legacy will probably not happen because Terry Matalas was named by Disney Plus to be doing a new Vision show.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a big headline from this week. And then finally, Simon. This is the big story to discuss. Simon Kinberg, the guy who gave us the last couple crappy X-Men movies like Dark Phoenix, is tapped now for this new prequel movie that they're talking about that takes place well before Kirk and Spock, before the Federation existed. It kind of sounds like Enterprise to the point where people are like, is this another reboot? Good Lord, no. And that's my feeling.
Why would you do a show before the Federation existed? That's the whole point of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Is the Federation and exploration.
But Enterprise's 4 seasons was all pre-Federation. I mean, it was just the Vulcans and the humans, and then meeting all the new alien races like the Andorians and the such. But yeah, it's like, okay, is this going to be? It doesn't make sense from a lot because some people are like, well, maybe it's a Kelvin universe prequel, and it's like, no. The point of Divergence for the Kelvin universe was when the Romulans from the present, or the present Prime universe, went back in time and destroyed the Kelvins, the Kelvin ship with Kirk's dad on it and stuff. And so likely Enterprise would have been the original history of the Kelvin universe as well. The only saving grace about possibly doing this is if it is going to be not an Enterprise and not Kirk's grandfather on this ship or Spock's grandfather or whatever. You want, you want if you do a fresh ship, I'm a little more like, all right, I'll wait and see what it's like. But it's like
a Captain Calhoun.
Right. I love Mackenzie Calhoun. But my point is that they by all means tell a different story about a different ship. That's okay. But they keep picking all these people as they name them to helm a new Star Trek movie. It just keeps getting lower and lower in terms of, Quentin Tarantino wants to make one. Oh, we don't want to do that. All right, well, then we're going to do this one. And Noah Hawley's going to do it, who's been kicking ass on FX shows like Legion and things like that. No, we don't want to do that. Then we had The Woman for about 10 minutes, and she was going to make the next movie. No, we're not going to do that. So when they made this announcement this week, it's like BS until the cameras are rolling. This is all air. This is all empty air. And it really, and also they keep going lower and lower. And finally, I mean, I don't know, Chris Chibnall from Doctor Who maybe will be announced next to be helming the next Star Trek movie. I don't know. Thoughts?
I think you said it.
Yeah.
Why can't you just
they
make
actually
another
start
Star
filming
Trek
it.
about 100 years after Next Gen and just go with that? I'd watch that.
Well, that is the other thing. I really hope, although obviously with Starfleet Academy coming, they're not going to let the 32nd century go, which is a shame because I suppose there's a chance for a better show set in that time period to happen. Maybe. But I would much rather stick in the 25th century where Picard season 3 was, where Lower Decks is, where Prodigy is. That's more interesting to me than continuing. And also, again, here, Mike says this, and he's right. Paramount poops the bed yet again by letting Terry Matalas get away. He should be running all of Trek. I really think the success and reaction to Picard season 3, I think Alex Kurtzman was really jealous and is like, okay, thank you for your service, Terry. Let's talk about this again. That's my feeling. I really think there is, and also the vibe I got from some of the red carpet stuff, like when they showed the last 2 episodes of season 3 at the Chinese Theater in LA, and they had the big, red carpet stuff, and they had comments. It really seemed like Alex Kurtzman's like, yeah, that's great, Terry. Okay. Anyway, we got a lot of exciting new things coming with Star Trek. I could be wrong, but it just,
I would watch a Klingon show. Wouldn't that be cool if they had like a whole show set on?
I've been asking for a Klingon show since the 90s. Absolutely.
Right? I mean, even a movie, even like a 2-hour one-off movie. I mean, I'd watch that shit.
I agree.
Some of the best TNG episodes dealt with the Klingon Empire.
and DS9 episodes. God, the John Colicos' core,
Oh yeah,
and the way they had him kind of slipping, and how Martok treated him and everything, and then he has this last blaze of glory and stuff.
yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, no, you're right, man. No, Ron Moore was like the man when it came to writing Klingon episodes.
I had heard back in the day that they were planning on doing something, or maybe it was just rumor back then that they were going to do like a Klingon offshoot spin-off, but I don't think it ever happened. But
the only other thing would be it'd be a lot of makeup, obviously. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know, but nowadays they could do so much. I mean, come on.
Oh well, no, you're right. No, modern makeup is cheaper and better, and yeah, I agree with you.
Didn't they do one of the video games that it was set all aboard a Klingon ship, if I remember?
Well, they had originally there was Starfleet Academy,
Yeah,
and then they did Klingon Academy, and Christopher Plummer came back as Chang, the Star Trek VI captain.
Yeah,
and he was a big part of the Klingon Academy video game. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I like both of those games; they were quite good. So, that's it as far as I can think of with Star Trek news.
Well, I read an article with Franks just before we came on tonight, and he says he's wrapped up his commitment to Star Trek. I don't know, maybe he had like a 10-episode directing gig. So he just finished Strange New Worlds, which we won't see till 2025, but he did an episode of it, and he was all excited about it. And then, of course, if you watch the internet, they finished season 4 of Strange New Worlds. I saw Mount. I saw all of them saying.
You mean season 3? But yeah,
season 3. Yeah, well, yeah, it would have been if there wasn't a strike. But yeah, season 3 is now done. So I guess next year they go back for season 4, and we'll see.
Maybe we'll see.
They got renewed for season 4, right? Yeah,
I thought they did.
Did they already renew for 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they canceled Lower Decks and they renewed Strange New Worlds. But when we'll see it is another story. I'm assuming it's going to be next year. I don't know.
Well,
Stanley
has
asked
a picture of his boots. Then you'll know.
Yeah, well, yeah. There was an Instagram video that Anson Mount dropped today that his commitment to 3 just wrapped up filming. He said there's just a couple little things he still haven't finished. Stanley, we did cover this, but I will answer your question. What time period would you want them to explore further? Like we just said, the 25th century. That's what we want. So, yeah, that's all I could think of, guys. As far as Star Trek stuff, again, we got one more week of pain.
Yeah, we got Star Trek: Strange New Worlds renewed for a 4th season, published April 12th, 2024, on the Star Trek website.
There you go. And I asked you if you were going to keep your Paramount subscription or cancel until it comes back. Because I'm like, what am I watching on this right now?
Well, I'll admit,
shows I want to watch.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, Franco. What you want to watch?
There's a bunch of shows I want to watch. There's that show that started on CBS, and then they that Evil show, which I started watching on CBS, but then I kind of dropped off, and I knew it was going to be on Paramount, and they finished it on Paramount, but I want to watch that. I think they're in the final season now. So,
that's with Mike. Is it Mike Coulter, the guy that played Luke Cage, right?
Yep.
That's him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Exorcism show.
Yes.
Yeah.
and then Tulsa King is coming back in the fall.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, but the fall's 4 months from now, so that's what I'm saying. Just cancel, save your $6 a month or whatever it is.
At the rate I watch shows, I'm going to have to keep it the entire summer.
Oh.
So.
Well, and I'll even admit I watch a lot of reruns that are on Paramount. I watch Perry Mason. Although they, much like Star Trek movies that disappeared for a while. I don't even know if they're back on there yet. Actually, I know they're not because HBO is still running Star Trek movies.
I'll tell you what.
Hold on. Mitch, forgive me, but please
all right, man. Come on.
Thank you. And I really. Anyway, I still watch Gunsmoke. I watch Perry Mason. That's fascinating, Mitch. Yeah, we'll see you next time on Star Trek. But keep going. Go ahead, say your thing now, Mitch.
No, I was going to say to you. Now you made me forget my train of thought.
Good, boy. It's really been burning in your brain there.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to keep the show going, buddy. There's nothing to fucking talk about if you haven't figured that out. But let me just say,
I think there's still
going back to Paramount Plus. Going back to Paramount Plus. Why is it? And maybe you know this because I went to go watch Casino Royale the other day because I wanted to see where they filmed over in Lake Como. I was like, oh, where were they? But they've broken up the James Bond series. It's like a couple of them are on HBO, a couple of them are over on Amazon Prime. When they get the license for these things, I don't know if they're doing that with a Trek. Don't they get the whole catalog, or what are we doing now? We're like piecemealing the shows now to things. I don't know where the hell.
I wonder if they're breaking them up based on the Bond. These are the Connery
Oh,
license. This
so
is the
it's
Moore
Sean
license.
Connery and Daniel. Oh, they're doing it like that now.
No. I'm just saying it could be that they're doing it like that. That again, who knows?
Yeah, I mean they've got the MGM cable channel and streamer, and
Yeah,
obviously that is still tied to Amazon. But they are, as you said, like with Star Trek, they're licensing things to other platforms. I really don't know. I'm glad they're doing that because it's a revenue stream that seems to continue despite the streaming subscriptions and them relying on it. There was another story. It was in Variety that Netflix is going to stop announcing subscribers next year, and it's because they all came to the ultimate conclusion that I think we all knew was inevitable, that there's a ceiling, and it's not infinite in terms of getting subscribers.
Wait,
and
then again, they're going to stop announcing what?
They're like the numbers of like how many subscribers they have.
Okay.
And there was a guy who, I think it was a Hollywood Reporter video, and he even said the studio's really screwed up with streaming, obviously, because they've made the theater going experience less important. And as I keep saying, COVID accelerated that lack of a need to go to the theaters. Wayne and I were talking before we started, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in the theaters. I really don't need to. I didn't see Doom either part 1 or part 2, and now they're both on Max.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that long ago that it came out.
Wasn't Fall Guy just in theaters and they announced like 5 days later that it was on video on demand or something like that?
Three weeks after it's already on. I was like, what the hell? They didn't even give that movie a chance,
Not even 3 weeks. I literally thought it was like a week or so later that they said it was on demand.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, it's they're so worried about quarterly earnings rather than the longevity of, I don't know, maybe I'll see that, maybe I won't. Well, it's been 4 weeks, it's out of the theaters. I mean, I don't think it's that bad yet, but I do think it's like 6 weeks and movies like seem to disappear. And again, when we were kids, a movie would be in the theaters for 6 months, if not more. I mean,
did you guys talk about how when I was leaving, I heard that you could now buy Max, Disney Plus, Hulu, and it's like, so I was like, wait, is Disney buying Warner Brothers now? Because why would you bundle that up? How are they splitting that money stream?
If you remember years ago when we on this show, I believe I said that these streaming services are going to turn into channels, and combining these three is going to be like one bundle channel.
Yes.
So that like that's basically what we have
the
now.
cable experience.
It's cable TV again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and even further, when Hulu began, Fox and ABC were still separate entities, and they went into Hulu in a joint venture. Mm-hmm. So bundling is they're recognizing the fact that no, we're not getting people are making the choice of I want Peacock, I don't want Netflix, or I want Amazon Prime, I don't want Hulu. And it's like, all right, well, we need to do something. So, there's several of these bundle deals that are happening. But, as James said, it's like cable for streaming. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
the only thing they haven't figured out is football, because that's the only thing I think that the networks still make money on, and maybe the Olympics. Because
I think that's why they're bidding over this thing. Like Netflix has football, like live games and stuff like that now. So
the WWE now moved over to
on
Netflix
now. Yeah,
right.
But soon.
Not till January, but yeah.
Well, and even prior to that, they were on Peacock. So all the line,
they're still
very
there.
Interesting. Well, of course, all the streamers though are getting into live sports, and they might have more money than the networks. I really wonder more so what's going to happen in the future of what are ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox going to look like 10 years from now.
They're going to be the affiliates of the streamers.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Wayne.
Oh, they're going to be the affiliates of the streamers.
Right. Yeah. Well, and in fact, that's like Tulsa King is going to run on CBS at some point this summer. And, they tried to do that with Discovery. They certainly did it with Yellowstone. Only Murders in the Building ran on ABC after running on Hulu. Yeah. It's very interesting.
The only one I think makes money is Apple TV, because I never hear any complaints from Apple, and they don't see their show. I don't see For All Mankind or that Harrison. I don't see those popping up anywhere. It's like, no, you want to watch that, you have to get Apple.
And it seems like the feeder studio for that stuff is Sony, and Sony doesn't have a streamer of its own.
No,
at least not now. And
well,
I hope
you figure out of all these studios, Apple and maybe Amazon would be the best equipped, because they're not relying on that to make their money.
Right.
They're relying on other things. So
other products.
Maybe they're the only ones that don't have to do something. But Amazon was kind of smart in that you can, if you get Kindle, Fire or whatever to streaming, you can buy those other things like channels on their operating system. So
as you just said, Franco, James says TV is a hobby for Apple. Well, that was part of the problem with the strike last year, because they're like, what's your problem? And it's like, well, our problem is you guys came in and are kind of screwing what used to be a very normal system of not only higher wages and more staff writers, but a 20 to 25 episode season versus now 8 to 10 episodes a season. And that's still a problem.
Which I don't dislike, honestly, but
yeah.
Double negative. Okay, so you like that? All right. Well, and I get that, Francis, but I also appreciate the writer's standpoint where, we get commissioned for a show. Back in the day, it wasn't a big deal for a show to have 7 seasons of 20 to 25 episodes. And now the norm seems to be 3 seasons of 10 episodes a season or less. And in fact, Kurtzman, back to Trek, they I don't know what the interview source was, but somebody asked him, do you think any of the new Trek shows can reach 100 episodes the way the old shows did? And he danced around it. And Mitch, you're right. I mean, it's like, hey, be honest. Well, just be honest with everybody and say television has changed. We only do 8 to 10 episodes. But, and this is where he put his foot in his mouth, he's like, but now we can really focus on the show and really do like the 10 best episodes. It's like, well, if you think that's your 10 best, get another job, because you don't know what
they're adopting the BBC model or the European model first.
Yeah. Speaking of BBC, you can segue into Doctor Who now. I watched the new Doctor Who. We can talk about that in a second. But here's a question for you. Now, does Disney pay BBC for the rights for Doctor Who? Because the last episode, they filmed it, and it looked like the volume where they do all the Obi-Wan Kenobis and all that stuff, and the Marvel shows. So they gave BBC money to produce Doctor Who?
It's a joint.
I'm like, what's going on?
Joint venture.
Yeah, it's a joint venture. They both fund the show.
It's like Fox and BBC for that TV movie.
Back in the day.
Back in the day with Paul McGann.
Way back in the 90s?
Yeah, that was a Fox.
It was a joint venture with Fox.
Oh,
yeah.
And also when Torchwood came over to the States, it was a joint venture.
Yeah, it was Stars. BBC. It was Stars and BBC. Yes.
Stars or something. Yeah, it was on one of the cable things or something.
But here, I'm glad you introduced that, Mitch. Let's talk about Boom. I liked it a lot. I thought it was terrific.
I think Doctor Who has become very woke.
What?
He cries a lot. Peace and love. Peace, or thoughts and prayers. I don't know.
Well, no, Franco, you're not wrong. I mean, that is kind of.
I say it in jest because but yeah, I was like, whoa, this is a hard episode to watch.
Right.
At times, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But also very Disney. It really felt. I mean, and I don't mean that in a necessarily bad way, but it really had that especially the way it was resolved and everything. And he's not dead; he's with us still.
The resolution was, but I actually thought it was more like a hardcore British comic book from the 80s or something. Because you're watching that, like the Universal Church, whatever they call themselves, and they boil you down into a freaking like Coke bottle. That was kind of gruesome, but it was like in a what was that, 2000 AD?
2000 AD, like a Pat Mills story
thing,
like Rogue Trooper.
Like, yes, and I thought that was like, that's old British type of sci-fi action happening here. So that was kind of cool. And the resolution was a little sappy at the end where, he's not really dead, he's an AI. But
well, you knew the resolution had to be something like that, because you know that her name just slipped out of my head. Rose, not Rose.
Oh
Ruby.
no,
Ruby.
Ruby. I
Ruby.
knew it was
Yeah.
an R.
Ruby
something.
Tuesday.
You know,
Ruby Tuesday.
yeah. You know, Ruby Sunday. Ruby was going to come back.
Yeah.
Knew she
Oh,
was
yeah.
going to come back, but still, like, so I kind of okay with the ending, and but like they killed the dad and they killed the other guy, and
Yeah.
you know, that was kind of harsh.
But they're not the star of the show. The thing of it was weird is in the old days, Doctor Who would just take out his sonic screwdriver and just deactivate the friggin' mine, and it would have been over in 10 seconds. And I'm like,
Yep.
wait a minute, why isn't he doing that? So that was a little
Maybe
odd.
he didn't have it on him, but also because he
Maybe.
became the bomb. So you know,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
I liked it though. I did like it, and I liked the Music Demon episode as well. I mean, I think they're on a decent roll.
The Music Demon, most of it was good though. There was that 10-minute segment where he like the demon was just screaming, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" I mean, I'm watching the TV and I just hear, "Ah!"
But I'm
like, dude,
you know,
that's not dialogue. That's
but
screaming.
I do appreciate that it was a trans person that was the
Yeah.
Music Demon, but that was a bad guy. And I always feel like Archie Bunker when I go off on this stuff. But this is truly my opinion. If you're going to show trans people, by all means, show trans heroes, show trans villains. And it was good to see a trans villain because it's like, yeah, I don't know how to break it to you. No matter what your orientation is, there are bad and good people in the world. And I think we need that representation on both sides.
And also going back to your hokey ending or your sappy ending for this, the sappy ending for that also happened because there's always a twist at the end.
Dude, that song, I'm telling you, that song immediately burned in my brain, unlike every song from the Strange New Worlds musical episode.
Oh,
It was a catchy song, it was cute, and it was only one song.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I can give you 5 minutes, and especially given that the whole thing was about, oh my God, a world without music, now music is back. Fine, great, and fun. Yeah, it was fun.
And I'm liking
Shooty Gatwa.
Yeah, I'm liking his I'm just bad with names in general. Yeah.
I like him too. I just knew when you're like, how do I say his name? What's that name?
No, I knew it. I was just trying to remember his name because I'm just bad with names in general. I know.
Well, but it doesn't spell the way that it's pronounced, which I love.
I had to think about it for a second. But
yeah, I mean, it's like being in a cab and you're like, I'm sorry, what's with the slash through the O and the dots over the U? I don't know what your name is. I'm very confused.
He's very happy go lucky, and I like that. He's like just happy. He's a happy doctor.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man.
Mhm.
I agree. ChemDog, good call. Good callback, man. The doctor's stuck on a landmine. Where's Harry Sullivan when you need him? The great Ian Martin.
Of the Daleks.
I met Ian Martin at a Who convention, and after his acting, he actually wrote a couple Target adaptation paperbacks of classic Doctor Who episodes. So I had him sign one of his books and stuff. But yeah, I'm like, hey man, Harry Sullivan, how you doing? Nice to meet you, man. Cool.
But I gotta ask, what was the message behind this? Because the old Doctor Who, there was always like a little satire upon the British government, Margaret Thatcher, or something like that. So I'm watching this whole thing about he's stepping on the landmine, they're reducing people down to little bottles of goo, and I'm like, maybe there's a bigger message.
At the very end. I told you at the very beginning that he's become very woke. It was a very woke episode.
It's the corporate aspect of war.
There you go. I knew there was like there's commentary being said. There's a message here. Like, what are we really getting at?
Yeah, there was the whole war was based on a profit in that the manufacturers manufactured a war with invisible beings, and that they just sent these people out as cannon fodder so that they can just keep fueling the war effort.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the guy was going to be blind for 4 weeks, and they're like,
the ambulance is basically there to like, it's like the Star Trek episode where they had the three brain things dealing with war.
Of Triskelion.
Yeah, where they said, "Oh, I've launched the rocket here. 2 billion people died." Blah blah. It's the same thing. This episode was like that.
Yeah. Well, also, the Doctor standing on a mine. Monuments Men, that movie had that plot device, and I'm reasonably certain there was a MASH episode that had
there
the
was
same.
When Trapper went out to get the little Korean orphan when he walked
the little boy,
and they had to fly the helicopter, and O'Brien came in and lifted up Trapper, and he saved the day.
I forgot about
Trapper,
that. That's the one, man.
He's going to take the kid home and adopt him, but then the mom showed up. Mama's son, yeah. No,
and it's so funny. I just rewatched a season 3 Battlestar Galactica episode where 3 named Rayner in his Cylon guys convinced Starbuck that she had a daughter, and then after they left New Caprica and stuff, and they were back on the Galactica, all of a sudden the mom shows up and it breaks Starbuck's heart, and tragic, very tragic. So, that's funny. Chemdog says Boom reminded him of the Ice Warriors shooting the Victorian soldier into cubes, or of course,
the Star Trek where he crushed the guy. Remember that one?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. I was trying to think of the title, but yes, exactly.
And we all knew damn well. We were all hoping that the hot whatever yeoman was the one that lived, but no, it was not. When they crushed it and then they threw it back in, it was that really tall dude. It's like, oh man, him? Come on.
What color was she wearing?
Red.
I think they both though were, Mitch.
They were both wearing red.
I didn't like them.
Okay, so it was a 50-50 red.
It's true.
His suit, if I remember, it didn't fit him properly because he was like really tall and like it was short. And I'm like, didn't they have any costumes left in the back room?
The new episode literally just dropped like 3 hours ago of Who, and if we do a Who Friday review, the likelihood is we won't see it. Stanley wants to know, Wayne, did we all watch the Furiosa movie? Not all of us.
Nope.
No.
But
yes, I did watch it, and the theater was packed. It was.
How'd you like it?
Unbelievable. I was like,
just nose to nose in a sea of people.
Nose to nose with everybody, and it was just amazing.
What time
was it? I think he's lying.
No, I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't lie.
Are you looking for your photo?
Yep.
So how'd you like the movie, though?
Yeah, tell us about the movie.
There is the theater.
Nobody's home.
12:30 on a Friday.
On a Friday.
But a very popular franchise, and George Miller is back, 79 years old.
And you can count the number of people walking in the lobby on one hand when I left.
All right, movie. How was the movie?
The movie, I liked it less than I did like Fury Road. I liked Fury Road a lot better. I thought the practical effects looked a lot better in Fury Road than it did in Furiosa. What he did, which was interesting, he did like the Spice Diver cut for Dune, where he broke the story up into chapters. So you had chapter markers as part of the story, as with Furiosa growing up, but also as the story progresses. And it sort of links into Mad Max Fury Road, which was pretty cool. And they had a different actor to play Mad Max in the linkage sequence between this movie and the previous one. So they didn't use any of the stock footage from of Tom Hardy, so that they didn't have to pay him.
Oh, come on.
And the one character that they had who was teaching Furiosa how to drive a truck looked it was basically Mad Max. Without calling him Max, it's Jack, but
Mad Jack.
It could have just been Max, but
Jittery Jack.
Yeah, it's
kind of keep the alliteration.
It was okay. It was.
Yeah.
I thought there was more digital effects in this than the previous one. The previous one looked a lot more practical. This one had more digital aspects to it. And if you stayed through the credits, you saw the digital creators. Because I think it was really just the storm or a few other things in Fury Road that was not practical. But this one had a lot more digital aspects to it. And it sort of takes it out.
Yeah.
When you have the digital aspects with a Mad Max movie, it takes you right out of the story because Mad Max is more practical. Even if it's cheesy practical effects, it's still, you want to see more of a practical approach. It was just it's just a nice story. I'd wait till it hits your freebie streamies.
Really?
Yeah.
Forgive me.
You're not going to get anything out of it.
Forgive me because I don't know, but didn't George Miller? Didn't it take him a long time to do the last Mad Max movie?
Yeah.
Like Furiosa. Like
Fury Road took a while, and again because it's the practical aspects of it.
Right, so that this one came out I thought it came out much faster than his
Oh, it
previous
did,
one.
and
So I
because
was
they
like,
relied more
yeah,
on digital, he relied more
yeah,
on digital.
yeah. Well,
How
And
was Chris?
it's some. Oh, Chris Helmer, he's hilarious.
Is he
That,
really?
yeah,
Yeah.
that accent that he has, it is the funniest Australian accent ever. I think I saw something on YouTube. He was imitating his a grandfather
Wow.
as like a sideshow barker
Huh.
with that nasally approach to it, and it's just it was interesting. Again, it's an interesting story about
Yeah.
her backstory of how she became the driver for Immortus Joe.
Okay.
And then that's really it.
I'm gonna watch it.
But
It's got to
yeah.
be better. It's the sand in this movie has got to be better than the sand in Dune that I saw.
Yes, the
Like, for
sand in
3
this is
hours.
a lot better because
Okay.
you're not going to have 20 or 30 minutes of you just
Staring at sand.
staring out into the
Okay.
sand.
Good.
Yeah. So it doesn't have that Dune sand aspect to it, but it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
I wish there was more practical effects, but again, I love those blowing when they blow shit up. They know how to blow shit up. Those Australians are fucking crazy. Sorry,
Is it long?
they're
Is it-
crazy. Those stuntmen, some of the stunts you're looking at it going, okay, that is practical, and you're going, dude, you are insane to do that.
Fury Road was cursed. It was even delayed due to the rain in the desert. A couple other comments that aren't about Furiosa, but something I forgot to mention, and James brought it up regarding Doctor Who. The actress for Monday from Boom will be next season's new companion. And now I'm hearing there will be 2 companions to Ncuti Gatwa, which slightly concerns me. I mean, again, we'll see how they execute it, but that to me was the biggest problem with Jodie Whittaker's run, that there were too many companions. And as long as the 3 of them experienced stuff together, as opposed to the 5 of them, where you had, this is where one character is doing something, another character. It's like the show's called Doctor Who. I want to watch the Doctor. And it felt in a lot of episodes that Jodie Whittaker was a guest star on her own show.
So the female warrior that was in this one, the soldier, is going to be the companion next season.
Maybe the actress will, but it will be a different character. As I understand.
I see. Okay.
Kind of in the way that Colin Baker was on the 5 Doctors before he became the 6th Doctor, and certainly Tuvok is in Generations as a crew member before he became Tuvok.
So then, Ruby is not going to be the companion, or also?
No, she's only one and done.
Well, I thought I heard both. I thought possibly that she will be around, and maybe again it's just a longer transition that might happen mid-season. But I guess we'll see. We'll see. Is it 10 episodes for this first season for Who?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And then
so
they
next
do the big Christmas special.
Well, yeah, but this week is 5 because there were the Tenet Christmas specials, but episode 1 was considered that Christmas episode, and this Boom was the 4th episode. I know that. So next week we're halfway there. Arc of Infinity, yes, that's right. Sorry, Chem Dog, you're right. That's where Colin Baker was. He was not in the 5 Doctors, but I knew it was a Gallifrey episode. So I miss Gallifrey. That's one of my few little nitpicks about current Who, that Gallifrey's gone again.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, we'll see.
No, I think Disney's got Doctor Who until they get the Star Wars show, Acolyte. That's June 6th.
Yeah, that's coming up in only a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course,
I saw the first 3 episodes of Tales of the Empire,
Tales of the Empire. Yeah. It's a good baseball show.
Yeah.
It's cricket.
Wiki says there's only 8 episodes.
Okay, thank you.
Including the that Christmas special.
Then we only have 4 left.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. What are they running out of shows lately?
No, I think I think all the streamers are seeing less returns than what they initially thought, and that's why you got Marvel saying, "Oh, we're not gonna, spooge out a bunch of Marvel TV like we have in the past." That's why Paramount's saying it about Star Trek. Yeah, man, they're all just like, all right.
So what happened with the new Daredevil show where they're like, we'll go 25 episodes? Why? What happened there?
We'll see.
And then they pushed it all the way back to next March 2025. There's going to be 2 seasons because I was talking to David Mack last week at dinner, and he was telling me that it's going to be 2 seasons now.
So are they breaking up those 25 episodes into 2 seasons? Is that what you're saying?
I thought he even said it was down to 18 episodes now. So I'm like, oh, really? So yeah, originally it was supposed to be 25. I even asked him what happened with Echo, since he would know because he created the character. I go, why was it 5 episodes? It seemed truncated, like there was like more to it. And he said, well, he was told initially it was at least 6, and then something happened along the way, and they cut it down to 5. I mean, that you don't think it's a lot, but that 1 hour sometimes might be a lot of explain a lot more. Because if you watched Echo, there was some weird shit going on in the last episode. I'm like, wait, where do all these powers come from? What's happening here? And it just seemed like 2 different shows. And then, okay, credits roll. We're done. Good night, everybody. I'm like,
well, we'll see when how Echo comes back, in what show and in what form. Yeah, I don't know. I liked Echo, I have to say, at the end of the day.
I see a lot of chatter going on about the new Spider-Man movie coming out next year from Sony and Tom Holland, and they're like, oh, it's going to be different and this and that. I don't know if it's legit or they just have a date where it's supposed to be released in theaters, so they're just chatting it up like they're working on it. Because I'm like, are they? I told you before we start today, how the hell are they going to get that Fantastic Four movie out the door by July 25th? And you're like, well, they might have already been done the special effects, which they probably did.
Yeah, just started shooting the live action stuff. Yeah,
I thought with the Marvel movies, a lot of the pre-viz work was already done for a good chunk of them. They actually have that the director basically is just sort of there to direct these the small talking sequences, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what Ordway told me.
It's not like directing a movie like how we think of like a Spielberg.
But yeah, I honestly think that's been self-evident for at least 10 years in terms of the CGI crew is really doing their own thing and alerts the director of what's going to happen. But and again, that's why the Marvel movies are more producer-driven than director-driven. To answer James's question, didn't they start over on Daredevil? Yes, they did. They absolutely did.
Daredevil Reborn, right?
They also but literally the title was still Reborn. But they saw footage that they already shot, and they weren't happy with it, so they started over again.
Which is crazy because you know how much money that costs. But
if you look at we want a good product. I hear you, Mitch. But
it was 5 episodes in the can. That's a lot of episodes to be asleep at the wheel.
That's a lot of money.
And then you go, wait a minute, throw these out.
Well, because they're seeing the reaction of how they've been writing and producing stuff. And it's like, all right, well, if we're still going in the wrong direction, let's stop and fix this. And I'm glad. And that was Iger. I mean, that's no different, Mitch, than a new studio regime coming in and saying, yeah, listen, I know we had a bunch of movies in production, but I'm the new chair and I don't want any of the old regime stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
but Born
not the first time
only like 4 issues. Like, how are you going to tell a story that's going to be that long? Unless they're going to incorporate stuff like from Fall from Grace or something.
They will. They will.
I think they just took the title. I mean, they
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, a lot of Born Again is in that final Netflix season.
Yeah.
So,
and the nun, the whole thing. Yeah, that they did a lot of it.
Yep. My bigger question is, and it was interesting, David Pepose created that new Punisher for the comics. That was a S.H.I.E.L.D. Wetworks assassin, and now he's the new Punisher. I forget what book he is making an appearance in, that Punisher, but they made this big deal about putting Frank Castle away in the comics, and yet Barenthal is going to be back as Frank Castle in the Born Again TV show, which obviously going to have more eyeballs than the comics do. But there was that whole thing during the Black Lives Matter demonstrations and the violent reaction to some of those that Time Magazine wrote that article. Maybe it's time to retire the Punisher, all that stuff. And they seem to follow through. That's a question I'll have for CB Cebulski, perhaps at Terrificon, August 16th through the 18th at Mohegan Sun. Tickets on sale now.
Maybe.
Here, another comment from the people. Forgive me. Kari's watching. Hi, Kari. Chip Zdarsky's 6-second parody audition for Richard Reed in his newsletter was hilarious. Okay. And yeah, as ChemDog said, yeah, Frank Castle is in Weird World, protecting children. That's how that Frank Castle story resolved itself in the comics. So he's still alive, but he's not on 616 Earth.
Mhm.
He's in Weird World. It's so weird.
Are they going ahead? I missed last week. Did you guys talk about X-Men 97? Are they going ahead?
Yeah,
with
but,
a
give us your
season?
thoughts, Mitch.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying because it looks like, from what I read, I watched it. It looks like it was a big hit. Everyone
was
seemed
great.
to like it,
Yeah,
but it takes a while. They animate stuff, so I'm like, well, what do? They got to wait 2 years
yes,
to get it
but
done.
I think season 2 is already in production.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I haven't heard a start date yet for the next season, but like when they even said that, because they said season 2 had already been greenlit and that the showrunner was not invited back for season 2, which
Right,
is a
I heard
shame because, I mean, again, much like Terry Metalis, I think that guy did a hell of a job. You know, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I'm like
season 2 is in production.
Oh, it is
yeah,
already.
I'm the good lab rabbit when it comes to X-Men stuff. Because I don't hate the X-Men. I'm just indifferent to it. I feel like I've read
Yeah.
the basics and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I understand how the magic trick works now. I don't feel the need to know what Jubilee is doing now. And name your favorite or least favorite X-Men. My favorite was
Morph.
always Bishop. Morph is cool.
Morph.
Bishop was always my favorite.
Bishop popped up in the
Nightcrawler.
last episode, so I think they were going to
Yeah.
do more of that.
This is
Bishop had a really good backstory, being a hunter
From the, yeah,
from the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was his
Hunting
original
units.
intent back in the comics, as I understand it. ChemDoc says looks like season 2 is adapting the adventures of Cyclops and
Yes.
Phoenix
Yep.
and Rise of Apocalypse. Yes, indeed.
Mhm.
My dear friend Stephanie Phillips writing the current Phoenix comic for Marvel.
Just
Who will
talked to
also
her
be a
today.
terrific.
Yes, I talked to her today. We were trying to get
Who's
flights.
also John's karaoke buddy.
Indeed. Indeed. I know. That's so funny.
What was the other?
She
X-Men?
claims
Oh,
I'm the first person that she's ever that time, and then the time we did it in Chicago with Azzarello, and she's like, those are the only 2 times I've done karaoke. I'm like, isn't it fun? She's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, there you go.
here's one for you. They put tickets on sale for Deadpool and Wolverine this week, which I was
Yeah.
surprised when I got back to the
The
United
most
States.
R-rated tickets. So
Yeah, Ordway's like, did you buy tickets? I go, for what? I said, the movie comes out July 25th, which is more
Right.
than 2 months.
Right.
Why are they trying to get like the buzz? Like, we've already made all our money before the doors open. I think that's what the plan is, because I went to go buy the tickets. I didn't get Franco's ticket yet, but anyway, I went to get the tickets, and the whole IMAX theater for the 6 o'clock showing was pretty much sold out. There was like the shitty seats way up on the back.
Sure.
And I'm like, wait a second. If it's already that sold out 2 months ahead of time, they're going to make a, what, $400-500 million like the old days before the COVID?
you
Is
better
that
get my ticket.
Is that what they're going for? But
Of course
are they
they
just
are.
worried?
Of course they are.
Huh?
No, I
but
think
of course they
it's
are.
really anticipated. I think people loved the last 2, and it was.
I
Just,
guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
And we haven't seen Hugh Jackman as Logan since the Logan movie, and it's
Yeah.
great that he came back to it. I read a story again. Man, the hype machine so on full blast for this movie. But I
Yeah.
read that Jackman told his agent, like he made the deal without his agent. It's like, yeah, I signed up for a Deadpool movie, and it's like, okay, what are you
They're
supposed to
even
do?
doing. Did you see the beer commercial? It's like, what's the Canadian beer? Wayne?
Oh, I did see the
Which
commercial.
Molson?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Molson
there's
Canadian or
Like,
Labatt's
is it
Blue?
Canadian? No, I think it's Molson.
I think it was
Molson
Molson.
Canadian.
Yeah, it's Jack.
Yeah, no. There's a beer called Molson Canadian.
Oh, well, his claws don't pop out, and he was going to beat up Deadpool, and there's like, oh, you should drink this beer, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell, man? 2 months, but it's a
Because they're
Disney
hyped,
movie,
man.
and they're promoting a beer, which is like,
Yeah, but
you
it's
know, Walt
R-rated.
Disney's-
It's,
I
it's
know,
an
but it's
R-rated
still
movie.
like, boy, we got to get all the money back on this.
But wasn't the hype for the I'm trying to remember the title, but the first Star Wars sequel,
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, didn't the promotion machine start a couple months before?
ago. Yeah,
but I'm saying a couple months. Well, that's the thing, man. I really think from a Disney or from a Marvel movie standpoint, this is a big deal. All right, hold on.
It's Heineken.
Oh,
Heineken.
it's Heineken.
Oh, it is Heineken. You're right, man.
That's
yeah.
not Canadian.
That's
It
weird.
was Heineken. That's right. That is correct.
Huh.
Last time I
It's
checked,
cute.
we're not German.
Oh well, whatever.
Actually, I believe they're
Canada,
Belgian.
Germany, same
Belgian,
difference.
whatever.
All the same.
No, whatever.
All the same.
If it ain't Canadian beer, I don't know
It
it.
ain't Canadian. That's what I know.
A couple comments from the Peanut Gallery. James says, was it with me that Neil Adams said that everyone copies his X-Men run? Yes. And he had that I forget the specific story arc that he had. But yeah, he helped revive. I mean, the X-Men weren't they running reprints before his?
It was in no. He
Oh,
did the Savage Land run, and it was the Living Monolith. It was right when Steranko came popping in too. It was like in issue 60 something. It was after
He introduced Sauron.
Roy Thomas wrote them, and Neil worked on them. Yeah, Roy Neal did those Savage Land stories, and and then it went into repeats. Not soon after that, they started doing reprints around issue 70, I think it was, or 60 something was the last real story, and then they went to reprints till 95 when they.
I like the way Kari is thinking, and I think she's right. First, the comics sold out before they hit the stores. Now the movie as well. Could it be that a lot of the good seats will be scalped?
Maybe.
I think that's a distinct possibility, Kari. I absolutely good call on that. Very much so. And James is excited, of course, because Logan's in costume. He's got the yellow costume on.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I'll admit I've fallen off watching Tales of the Umpire religiously. I figure I'll catch the recap on ESPN's baseball tonight.
I thought it was.
They gotta have Mel Allen. They should AI Mel Allen's voice. This is what's happening this week on Tales of the Empire.
I thought I watched the whole thing. I didn't know there was more. Sometimes you watch these shows, I go, is that it? Okay.
There's two separate stories. One dealing with Morgan, how she rose to prominence.
Yes.
And then the other one dealt with the
Trans Warrior.
No, it's the Inquisitioners.
Inquisitors.
That's right.
It's an Inquisitor story.
Okay.
Yeah, I only watched the first 3 episodes. So
the Acolytes, less than a month away. The Acolytes, like mid June.
Early June, June 4th.
I'm liking the cast.
Oh, so wow! All right, so 2 weeks away. Yeah,
and it's mid June. End of June is Orphan Black Echoes.
Right, which I will be watching because I really love
Ritter.
What's that?
Kristen Ritter is the lead character.
Oh, I love her. Jessica Jones. Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't wait to see her play many versions. I'm telling you, man, that's why I was excited for She-Hulk, because Tatiana Maslany was so great in Orphan Black. I don't know how you felt, Wayne, but I didn't stick with it. I felt after the first 2 or 3 seasons, it kind of lost its way. I came back for the finale, the original Orphan Black. But I love the concept. And again, if you got a strong actor playing the clones, and that's why Tatiana was incredible playing all the different versions.
And I sat beside either the creator or one of the head writers when I was coming back from San Diego one year. He was flying back into Toronto when we were flying. I had to do probably the press at San Diego Comic-Con. And we were talking about Orphan Black and talking about how Tatiana was just amazing in her performance.
A couple of questions again from the people. Stanley wants to know if I ever interviewed Jerry Ordway. I have, and in fact was just asking Mitch yesterday off the air what Jerry has coming up, and I think I'll talk to Jerry before.
He does. He's got. He's working with Tim Seeley. What is it? The Local Man? Is that Tim Seeley's book?
Yeah, that's Local Man. That's
of all things. Jerry did a book years ago called Wildstar for Image back in the late '90s, and that character pops up in Local Man.
Yeah, Local Man's a lot of fun because they are bringing back a lot of Image heroes in it, and as Franco said, it's co-written by Tony Fleece. Yeah. Great book, really great book, and they're 2 of my best friends in comics. Even with Franco actually here, I know.
I was going to say, speaking of new comics, I'm finally telling some ghost stories, and I have a new book called Ghostlight Tales, and it's the pre-launch page is on Zoop if you want to check it out. We go live with the campaign next month sometime.
Scoop, I had to kick your ass.
I know.
Who's zooping who?
Don't
Check it
push
out.
it, Wayno.
Sure.
Zoop is a 4-letter word, not only in reality, but as far as the Word Balloon Network is concerned. But we love Franco, so we'll certainly help him promote it when it's time. Mike says, sort of off the subject, but still comic book related, is anyone going to see a 30th anniversary showing of The Crow this month? My son and I are going this Wednesday. Cool.
Yeah.
Probably
I saw that Star Trek 3 is being released for the 40th anniversary. I didn't see where, but I saw like a little ad, like, "Oh, go see it on the big screen, 4K." I'm like, okay.
Well, let's pull it back for Star Trek 3 for a second. It's so funny because the real Trek snobs, and I say that as a Trek snob myself, I don't feel this way, but I know the Inglorious Trexperts and Rob Burnett really do kind of crap on 3 because it's such a soundstage movie and it was painfully obvious. I know they wanted to shoot in Hawaii, but the expense and also the fear of rain kept them from doing it. So like a lot of those scenes on the Genesis planet where you see all the vegetation and stuff, they wanted it to be in Hawaii, but decided against it. I love Star Trek 3. I think the story was strong enough that those soundstage scenes, despite that, it's like, no, the story was great. I mean,
Where else would you get like Father Jim as a Klingon?
Yeah. What does a dilithium
Reverend Jim.
crystal do?
Reverend Jim. Yes. But no, actually, I think it was Shatner's one of his best performances there when his son dies and he falls down. You Klingon bastard! You killed my son.
Yes.
I was like, and even when they do the shots of the reaction shots from Scotty and everybody else, and they're just looking like oh shit, you know.
My God, Bones, what have I done? You
That
had
was
to.
like, God, dare I say, that was decent acting from William Shatner. That poor guy gets shit on all the time, but
Well, and again, not to continually spank Michael Burnham, the character, but because I forget either somebody, maybe it was Larry Young, maybe it was one of you guys, but it's like, well, you know, our Picard cried and Kirk cried, and it's like, yeah, once or twice. Kirk cried at Spock's funeral. Of all the beings I knew, his was the most human or whatever. And then, Klingon bastards, you killed my son.
Kirk cries after every woman he's banged.
Kirk, he got choked up.
No, he didn't. Miramani died.
He just going,
shut up, Wayne, you're wrong.
There's
You're just being
another.
a jerk.
Edith
Miramani
Keeler.
died in his arms.
So here's my prediction for how Discovery is going to end. She goes into that pod. Michael Burnham goes into that pod, and then she gets put back in time in all the Trek movies, and she's really.
Everybody.
We find out she's really Captain Kirk in all these.
Well, they did that in Doctor Who.
Yeah,
with Clara.
Yes, they did.
Where she went through all the different reiterations of the Doctor.
Oh yeah.
Very
I've
fun.
had enough of you.
Yes.
Yeah, Mulch Chow Chi.
Yeah.
Trek 3 is a cool 4K street book collector's and steelbook. Sorry, coming out soon. I got one copy ordered. I'm sure Rob Burnett does as well. And that's what I love about these guys. It's like that sucked. Did you buy the steelbook? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You got
it. Did you get the EXO figures of Saru and Michael Burnham? Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think they're $1 at Walmart.
You know, it bums me out because Susan Eisenberg, the animated Amazon, as I like to call her, the Wonder Woman actress, she did at least one Discovery book on tape, and I did buy it. But I'm like, I hate this. I hate these characters so much. I couldn't even listen to Susan's performance. I was so bummed. So, here, what's this now? Who is safer to date, James Kirk or one of the Cartwright brothers? Who are the Cartwrights? Yeah, Admiral Cartwright. I think there's only one Admiral Cartwright.
Or Bonanza.
Bonanza, isn't that what you said?
Oh, sure. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Kari. Well, I mean, really, it wasn't. Well, I don't know if the brothers had widows die, but I know Lorne Green had like a couple wives die.
A couple wives.
And, you know, all their moms and everything.
Little Joe didn't have a wife. Hoss had a wife. Candy, Pernell Roberts, I think, had one. That's
no. Pernell Roberts was Adam. Candy was what's his face from All My Children, David Canary, who was on the later seasons. But yeah, you know,
But
Adam
he's one of
Chandler.
the brothers, though, isn't he? Candy.
I believe you're right. I believe he is another
I
Cartwright.
thought he was a cousin.
Maybe he was a cousin, but he was a
I don't know.
Cartwright. I believe he was Candy Cartwright. I do think you're right about that. So, yeah, I got to say, honestly, a great tangent. Bonanza was a very well-written show for the 60s and 70s. It really was. I mean, it's still a 60s or 70s show, and it's got that pacing, but there's a reason why that show lasted for more than a dozen seasons. And I know Maria Bamford, the comedian, was doing a Bonanza rewatch podcast review, kind of like what we do. Yeah, and Bendis was raving about how funny it was. So, but I love that show. I'm a big fan. And it survived losing Pernell Roberts pretty early on.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Like it went another 7 or 8 seasons without
The
him.
magic was Hop Sing. No one knew about it.
Loved Hop Sing. Victor Sen Young, fine Asian actor. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, playing a pretty stereotypical role as the cook, but very funny, great actor. He's in
Not as bad as Tony Randall in the Severin Faces of Dr. Lowe.
well, that's a white man playing.
Or Mickey Rooney in
of course,
Breakfast at
Breakfast
Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
But Victor Sen Young was number 2 or 3 son in the Charlie Chan movies,
Wow.
and very good, very, very good. I'm a big fan.
Are those on anywhere anymore? Or those been canceled?
I doubt it because of the fact.
Oh, they've been whitewashed.
that
Oh, really? I know.
Yeah,
Seriously.
well, Chan was never played by an Asian. They had a very reasonable, and again, white guy, middle-aged white guy saying this, but they did have a lot of Asians as the other Chan family members.
Yeah, Key Luke was number 1 son. For
Absolutely.
A while.
I got to meet
Yeah.
K. Luke in West Hollywood at the
How
Beverly
about in
Garden.
Get Smart?
Oh
was
yeah,
it- Not
Harry Who. Harry Who
Yes.
is the white guy who was the Charlie Chan parody. Yeah, you're right
Yeah.
about that. But yeah, that's the sad thing. Warner Oland and Santos Ortega and oh god, I can't think of his name now.
He was
The
a British
first guy,
wasn't he?
Warner Oland, I know was Swedish of all things.
Oh, Swedish.
But
okay.
the first guy, I can't think of his name. Oh no, Warner Oland was the first guy. Sidney Toller was my favorite Chan, the middle Chan. And then Santos Ortega was the final Chan. They had a Hispanic gentleman playing Charlie Chan.
That
What
makes
do
a
you
lot of
know?
sense.
Well, I mean, and I've asked my Asian friends because it's a shame because it was played by white actors and a Hispanic at the end. But all that said, Charlie was always the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And literally, the cops would always be, Jesus, thank God you're here, Charlie. We got a case. We don't know what to do. And yes, he spoke in that pidgin English. But again, it's like he was smart. I just had Greg Pak on, and we're talking about Fu Manchu. And I'm like, listen, don't get me wrong. That stuff is very, very, very rough. Yeah, racist. Yeah, I believe that's the word I was looking for, Mitch. Racist. But that said, I'm like, yeah, but he is kind of like the Asian Moriarty, where he was this brilliant crime lord. And again, I'm like, I'm not going to try and change your mind, Greg. And Greg's like, yeah, but, and I'm like, no, I get it. And that's why I'm so glad they were able to, in Marvel, in the Shang-Chi comics, kind of step away from Fu Manchu and give his crime lord father a new identity and stuff. And it's like good because I do like the fact that Shang-Chi is the son of a crime lord. And I think all that's really interesting.
Well, you think of like Timely and Atlas Comics, the Yellow Claw, which was a huge villain.
Oh yeah,
back
and
then.
Jimmy Woo and all that stuff. Yeah,
before he
Ken
became
Dog-
an agent of Shield.
That's right.
Yeah, Ken Dog reminds us that in the Talons of Wen Chiang had John Bennett play the Asian crime lord. Well, also the original toy maker, the Celestial toy maker, was Michael Goh, who later on became Alfred during the Burton and what's his face Batman.
Schumacher. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was in
Schumacher,
all of
thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
And he was the original toy maker. Yeah, so
Oh, and the Shadow's biggest enemy is Shuai.
Oh,
Shuan Khan.
Shira Khan. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a descendant of Genghis Khan.
Descendant of
Yes.
Genghis Khan.
Correct. I just said that. But yes, that's right.
Who tells Neelix to shoot himself in the movie
Yes.
when he comes
Correct.
out of the pit? The
Correct.
tomb.
And Magneto is the mad scientist in the Shadow movie.
And
with
Adam
Alan Ball.
Curry. Is it Adam Curry? The guy that
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry from Rocky Horror. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
You know who does shows? Penelope Ann Miller. She was the redhead. She was Margot Lane in that movie.
Mhm.
I'm a
I
big
thought
fan.
she was the Cat's Pajamas. She was also in Carlito's Way.
She was
Wasn't
she was
she in
in the
Twins?
Freshman with Matthew Broderick and Marlon Brando.
She was in a lot of stuff, and then I don't.
She-
fell
she
off
was
the
she was-
map. Yeah.
She was on that Andre Brower, Ray Romano show, Men of a Certain Age, and she was
Oh, really?
Romano's ex-wife in that. Yeah. No, I'm a big
Good.
fan, and I agree. Good Lord, no, she is, and of course in The Freshman, she's Matthew
Yeah.
Broderick's.
I just said that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. 'Cause I was
She
thinking.
was everywhere, and then just like
Yeah,
kind
that's what I'm
of
saying.
abruptly
She was like
disappeared.
the big thing. Yeah, like Sandra Bullock. It's like, oh, Penelope Ann Miller's in a movie, and then disappeared.
Isn't it weird? That,
It's
like
it's that
actresses,
Deborah
like,
Winger thing.
age
It's
out,
that,
like yeah.
it's
Mhm.
yeah, what Rosanna Arquette said in terms of you reach a certain, you're an ingenue,
Yeah.
and then when you hit 30 or whatever,
40,
Hollywood
yeah,
has
that's
no
pretty
use
much
for you.
it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was so glad that oh god, Karate Kid and The Boys first season.
Elizabeth
Uh,
Shue?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was so glad that she was so important in that first season of The Boys, and it's like great because she's a great actress. I think she still looks amazing.
Yeah, she's
And-
60 and she's still
Yeah.
working. Yeah,
No, Carrie Ann Moss still working,
she's in she's the Jedi in that new movie.
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah.
And the Acolyte.
and she was in Jessica Jones,
That's right. She was the Hogarth,
the lawyer.
Lawyer, yeah.
And Chemdog is right. Penelope Ann
Mhm.
Miller and the Relic. Great adventure movie, kind of
Mhm.
like National Treasure and Indiana Jones Light Year of the Comet. With
Yep.
I want to say Tim Daly in that movie as well.
Yeah, it was based on the Tom Harris books. If you ever read Tom Harris, he did The Keep, which was a shitty movie, but it was a good story. And then there was a guy, he came up with a character called Repairman Jack, who was kind of like Kolchak the Night Stalker if he was
Yes.
like James Bond. And they had this whole thing called the Night Something Cycle. It was a really good series of books that culminated in the end of the world. And so if you ever get
All
a chance to read this, yeah. But he did another one, The Keep, The Relic. There was The Tomb, which was about a Rakshasa, which was on the Tonight Show, the Night Stalker. It was that big thing that there's something of the Heights. Remember that? It was in the Jewish
Mhm.
neighborhood.
Yeah, Horror in the Heights. with
Horror in
Phil
the
Silvers.
Heights. Yeah. And the guy that was the voice of the Turtles was in that one. Is it Barry Gordy?
Barry,
Gordon?
yeah, was it Barry Gordon? Yeah, it was Barry Gordon. You're right.
Yeah. He was the waiter. He was
Right,
working in
right.
the Indian restaurant. Yep.
Right. That's right.
Anyway, these are here.
Still
nor
on
there.
every Saturday night at 1 a.m. your time, guys, on the East Coast.
It's only
midnight my
20
time.
episodes. I don't know how he milks that, but sure. You know.
Well, they only show once a week, so it's almost half a year. I love it. I'm cool with it.
Did they
You
put
mean to
Nike
tell
on
me
it?
there's a Spanish moss monster killing people and no one's talking
Simon
about it?
Oakland, buddy. Simon Oakland was the shit.
Oh, my buddy, who's the voice of the Boston Bruins, Judd Surratt. He and I used to always imitate Simon Oakland. Carl, I need you to write
Yeah.
the lovelorn letter column. Stop worrying about vampires killing
He
people. in
died
Las Vegas.
young, didn't he? Didn't he die like 40 something? I don't think he was that old.
I
Maybe
think he
50.
might have been in his 40s. Maybe he was 40s, but I think maybe 50s. But yeah,
Yeah.
he certainly he didn't make it past the 80s, if even that.
No.
So yeah, the
no.
decade.
Too bad.
Very sad. All right, you're breaking my heart. Actually, big news regarding Kolchak. God, I'm glad you said something, man. Rodney Barnes's comic book imprint got the rights to Kolchak from Moonstone,
I saw that.
and the guy who kickstarted that great coffee table book collection of new Kolchak stories is going to be the writer editor of it. And I'm thrilled because I
have that
love
somewhere.
Kolchak.
Yes, that was
Yeah, Jerry
cool.
Ordway did a cover.
Jerry Ordway did the cover. That's what I'm looking around here. I got it here somewhere. But yeah.
Good stuff, man. All right,
They're doing wait. Jeffrey Rice, they're doing an adaptation. I saw a cover, and Russ Braun, who did The Boys, he did a cover for it. So yeah, I don't know when it's coming out, but I saw it.
Jeff Rice still holds the rights to Kolchak.
Well, he's dead
was the
now,
ori-
but sure, yeah.
Well, his estate then, yeah.
That's a weird story, that whole thing.
It is a weird story. I know the Moonstone people, and they were dealing with Rice directly in the early 2000s when he was still around, and he had no internet. They had to always messenger him or literally mail things to him and everything.
He's a weird dude. That whole backstory. He was writing about the mob in Vegas, and then it got out of control. I'm like, wait, what happened here? It wasn't just a vampire story. It was all about Las Vegas and what's going on. I was like,
Sure.
the hell?
All true. All right. I'm checking
Right.
final comments before we wrap up here. Hold on.
Who would play Kolchak in a movie if they had to do it today?
Mitch, I got to be honest.
Ryan Gosling.
They about 15 years ago they tried to bring Kolchak.
Oh, I know
back.
Johnny Depp, and I'm stupid. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. No, it was on TV, and it was
no.
an.
Oh, that was
on.
Stuart Townsend.
That was
Yes.
Stuart Townsend.
Right,
Yeah, that was
correct.
a horrible reboot. That was by
Well, and you know
Frank
why?
Townsend.
Honestly, guys, because it's Darren McGavin that made that
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
and I don't think I can't come up with a contemporary that could pull. It's like Columbo. Oh,
No,
feel
you
free
know
to-
who could do it? You know who could do it? Bryan Cranston.
Well, I think
think
he's
Bryan,
bigger than
he
that.
he could play a down and out because the whole
Yeah,
thing
but
with Kolchak is he's like he's basically a loser, and you're
Right.
but he's going to save the world, and like the least likely guy you'd expect to be the hero. You need to get an everyman type of guy, and I think Cranston could pull that off.
But
Maybe.
it's kind of like when Denzel remade The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 instead of Mathau. It's like you're right about all that, Mitch. But like along with the monster stuff, it was kind of a comedy because McGavin played him like a con man to get the story,
Right.
and also he was a middle-aged guy in sneakers and a bad seersucker suit, and it's like he's the least likely hero of these kind of movies, and he would see or his TV shows, and he would succeed every week. That's what made it great.
I think Mitch is right with Bryan Cranston because you forget about Malcolm in the Middle a lot.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're right. I suppose he could play the comedy, but he's too pretty. I mean, that's the thing with Garrett.
Tom Hanks.
Who?
No,
Tom Hanks
can't be
could do it.
Hanks. No,
Tom-
Hanks is too
no.
Tom Hanks.
Sure.
No, in Hollywood they would probably cast Jack Black in it and be like, "What the?"
Well, honestly,
Oh,
that's
no.
kind of
Seth Green.
Not well, and that's
Green.
another one. You need. That's the thing, guys. I think you need a not-looking leading man that has more comic overtones than. I mean, that's the thing. I think Bryan Cranston's even too good-looking as a leading man.
Well, they were gonna do it with Johnny Depp, but then do you ever see that? What was the Dark Shadows movie they made? It's like, what the
Right.
hell is that? It's like,
well, and he
too
was
nuts.
he was such a great Tonto too.
yeah, no, and whatever. I can see now Tim Burton's The Night Stalker, and you're like, what in the hell is this movie? But I don't know. Who would be a good Vincenzo though? You need a
Well, that's easier to guess.
J.K. Simmons, but he's already
Sure, absolutely. Yes, no, I could see J.K. Simmons being Vincenzo.
You know who would have been a good one? But he's dead. James Gandolfini would have been a good
Absolutely,
Vincenzo.
sure. Carl. Simon Oakland, great Twilight Zone episodes.
Oh yeah, with the gold, right? That was the one where they find the gold
And
they
the plane that lands and it has no crew and no passengers.
Oh yeah, and of course he's
That's
the
really
psychiatrist at the end of Psycho too.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Carrie says Johnny Depp has his moments, but generally these days he plays a character of himself. Who is
They're all
asking
like that.
for Pirates of the Caribbean 6? My
Ed Donaldson.
God. My God. Oh,
They're
I
going to
don't know.
reboot it with a different actor, aren't they?
Margot Robbie, I heard, was going to be Captain Jack.
yeah. Good luck with that. All right. Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
Sidney
By the
Sweeney.
way, I didn't see the Fall Guy. Did anyone? Does Lee Majors have a cameo? I don't care if you spoil it for me.
I haven't seen it, but he does have a cameo.
Okay. I was
I
hoping
haven't
that
seen
they
it,
put
but you
in
can
there.
get it on demand now, so you go
I
right,
know,
right
I
after
know.
we're done.
Didn't we already talk about that? I think we did. All right. There we go. Yeah, we're done. So next week, everybody, we'll all
I'll be
suffer
here.
one more week of Discovery and see if they can stick the landing or screw the pooch, as they say in The Right Stuff.
Is it
I'm
going to be
voting-
a 2-hour?
I'm
finale
voting on the
then?
dog being very uncomfortable from the final episode. What'd you ask, Mitch?
Is it just a 1-hour episode? Is
I
there a
have
big
no idea.
2-hour finale?
Oh, let's hope for 2 hours of pain.
Maybe it's like
Please.
MASH. It's 2.5 hours.
Sure. Goodbye,
It's a
farewell.
2-hour
on
finale.
land.
I
At
can
the
watch
end-
it in half-hour installments every week, every day of the week. Yeah.
At the end, Tilly spells out goodbye in a bunch of asteroids. or something.
Exactly.
No, the replicator spells it out in shit. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yes.
All right. Time to go. A word from a very unlikely person talking about me in Star Trek.
I'd like to denounce the Word Balloon podcast. The show and its so-called host, John Suntress, are a disgrace to the nation. 19 years of episodes and not one conversation about Sad Sack. I base all my military appropriation Senate votes on the whimsy of this great comic. And don't mess with Texas.